Do you really become more grumpy as you grow old? Or does your dotage actually make you a bit more content with life? Well, now the Office for National Statistics has done a study into happiness, loneliness and well-being, and the results may be a little bit surprising. It would seem that the happiest people in Britain are those who have retired. Almost 45% of 65 to 79-year-olds told the survey they were happy overall in life. That's compared to just over 30% for people aged 64 and under. While among the over 80s, close to 40% said they were content. But that age group is also the most isolated, with nearly 30% saying they were lonely. Compare that with just 15% for those 64 and under. So how can you grow happier as you grow older? With me now is one of the original grumpy old men, comedian Arthur Smith. Oh, a little smile there. And alongside him is life coach Donna Dawson. Arthur, I know you've probably always been reasonably grumpy. Have you got grumpier as you got older?
Well, I think so, but it's not disagreeable. I quite enjoy being grumpy in a way. And then there comes moments as you get older, like the first time someone offers you a seat on a train because you're old. And instead of being afraid of that, I think you can accept it.
You should embrace it. Yeah. Except I've offered seats to people and they've looked at me aghast, saying, "How old do you think I am?" So well, clearly, I don't know if they're revelling in being grumpy or not. Donna, what do you make of this? Do you think, well, like Arthur says, people might appear grumpy, but they're secretly loving it?
I think getting older just allows you to free yourself up in general. If you want to be grumpy, you can be. If you want to be content, you can be. I think it's you've got nothing to prove anymore. You've done all your impressing. Yeah. You know who you are. You can look back on your achievements and say, well, I didn't do too badly. And you can just find some me time as you get older.
You can
time for you.
Things. You know, you can. Yeah. I have finally come to accept I'm not going to play in the England cricket team.
Well, you might get a chance. They're not particularly brilliant at the moment, although they did win the Ashes, to be fair. The rugby team, we'll talk more about them in a minute. That's enough to make anyone grumpy. What's happened to them? Do you think, though, Donna, that we as a nation perhaps embrace this more than others? And you're in a good point to look at that because you're from, obviously, abroad.
No, I'm not sure it's a cultural thing. I'm just sure it's a kind of getting on thing and reaching a different stage in your life where you've actually got a lot more perspective. You've gathered a lot of life experience by a certain age. Yeah. You've sort of seen the trends come and go and they come round again. And I think you actually learn to live in the moment. So you stop regretting the past, you stop looking to the future with anxiety, and you treat it as an open book, and you actually enjoy every moment for what it is.
You both lived a bit more life than I have, let's be honest. We're not going to name ages here. When does that kick in? At what point do you think, do you know what, it doesn't matter as much as it used to?
Well, I think you arrive at moments, like I said before, or like the moment when you suddenly just put all your change on the counter and say, you sort it out, which you're too embarrassed to do for most of your life.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I used to think growing old is like being increasingly penalised for a crime you did not commit, as Anthony Pohl said. But actually, as you go into it, yeah, you can accept more. You've got, you've seen a lot has happened to you, inevitably, by that age. And so you're more accustomed to I think you become more aware of just how ludicrous it is to be alive.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, you don't actually think you're older. You think you're sort of stuck at that ideal age, whether it's 17 or 30. Yeah. And when people start treating you like you're old, you suddenly get surprised and think, why are they treating me like I'm old? I don't feel any different.
We've got a few positive souls who got in touch on social media. Ginge Hardy, what keeps me happy and motivated is my wife and 3 kids, and I have a happy, strong relationship. It's all the happiness you need. Trinker on Twitter says, I'm happy because I've come through horrible cancer treatment. Some people, though, might be content with what they've done in life as they get older, but we heard there that some people are also still quite lonely. How do you mitigate against that? Because there's an air of inevitability about that, isn't there?
Well, of course, as you grow older, your friends have died and maybe a partner and you have fewer responsibilities. And I think probably a lot of old people do live alone. I suppose it's a question of making your isolation perhaps a good thing or becoming used to being on your own a bit more.
Some people say, Donna, have more children when you can because they'll look after you when you do get old and stop you being lonely. You
might be surprised that your children don't want to do that and try to stick you in a home. Yeah. I think it's really about getting balance between having that time to yourself to do the things you've always wanted to do and also time with other people. So if you are older and you're still physically active and able to get out, the idea is to make friends where you can and keep the network of humanity going, because we all need that.
Do you think that youth is wasted on the young?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Don't you?
Arthur?
Yeah, I know. But what young people don't understand is that they look at old people and get annoyed with them taking too long in the queue or something, and they think that you've chosen to be 85 or something. And it's like kind of, why did you just choose to be 20 like me?
I mean, I can't see you as old people, but we'd happily give you more time to get your points across. For now, we're just about out of time, but thank you both so much for coming in and sharing your wisdom.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.